No public comment. Approval of board minutes. And we take a motion to approve.
So to approve the January minutes.
Okay, and we can discuss. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pam.
Okay, perhaps I misunderstood things on page 8. When it comes to approval of the policies, I wrote down policies that haven't been listed as approved. Starting, not the last part in the 800s, but in the 300s.
Okay, say that one more time, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we went through the 800, 900, the last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And so the previous meeting, we started at the beginning, and some of those aren't listed as approved in the 300. For example, 307, which is
Minute.
Well, could we maybe suggest I check on that instead of going through them here because it's
Yeah.
way too confusing.
okay, so I'll
Check
give
on
you
that.
the, I'll just give you the numbers.
After the meeting and I'll break on
Yeah,
them. Because
okay. Yeah,
these were the, but we may have approved them in our meeting, but they might not have made it in here to be approved yet.
I can
Because we were gonna work on, I was gonna do some
work.
research.
Research, right,
Yeah.
yeah, there are some.
Can we do that after the meeting? Okay.
And I did have one that I know we approved that didn't go on the list.
Okay.
So, okay,
So the minutes are.
we'll get them corrected if there's anything different on their policy
Yeah,
numbers.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that we approve the minutes.
So with the correction, we can approve with the corrections.
Okay.
Anybody else with the minutes? No? Okay, do we need to amend the motion?
We haven't amended anything.
So what I'm thinking is that were these in the board, these are the ones that were in the board pack. These are the ones that we were approving.
Right.
So, but in the committee, you may have approved more that didn't get in the board pack.
Right,
So I think at this point that I think this might be the correct ones that were got approved at this meeting.
and that's what I went through really careful last night. And these were the ones that I had, that we had approved so far, minus B304 didn't get on this list.
Okay.
But everything else, there was nothing else on my list that the board had approved yet. We had worked on some more, they could be in this packet. But we'll go through, because we're gonna have another committee meeting anyway. Okay. Anything else? Okay, Mary, should we take a roll call to see if we approve the minutes?
Okay, Commissioner Busman,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Legria,
Yes,
Commissioner Withers.
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Romero.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay,
Debbie, may I just ask Mary, I think, is there a page 11 missing here? I noticed that. in the
I
packet.
did go back and check and there was not a page 11.
Just thought I'd mention it so that when we, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the deal is, but I just thought if it pertains to any page numbers, maybe we make a note of that.
No, when I was reading, I'm going, wait a minute, there's no page 11. So I thought sometimes my printer will miss a page.
Yeah.
So I went back into the,
PDF.
yes, and there was no page 11, so we're good.
Yeah, because I just go, and have it, the page numbers, not, I don't do them individually.
They're supposed to do it automatically.
It does
when you
do
say
automatically.
page, yeah.
But sad about that though, this is in the financial report, so I'm worried that something might be missing.
But it went straight from the minutes to the financials. So that's why I was thinking it was okay.
Okay.
It might have been a partial page or blank page.
It might have been a blank.
Might have been a
Well,
blank
maybe.
page, so sometimes the printer won't pick up a blank page. There's no text on it.
That's true. We can ask Kelly. Kelly, was your dashboard the first page of your financial report?
It looks correct to me. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, and then, so it went right from the last page of the minutes right to the financial report, so I kind of,
Yeah, I think Charles is there.
so, we'll do reports from chair and commissioners. I wanna go last this time. Tracy, you wanna go first?
Sure. I don't really have a whole lot to report. I'm still continuing some training, with STD, their, SDAO training, financially, and I'm, in the, help me with this board, certificate situation.
The SDAO puts out, and I don't know exactly how that works.
I'm finding out.
Okay, because I wasn't so worried about getting the certificates or anything. I'm gonna take as much training as I possibly can.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I really, how much the certificates would actually help. So if you wanna continue
I will.
finding that out, because there's two different areas for certificates. Or two different certificates that they offer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm pursuing that.
Okay, perfect. Guillermo?
Good morning, glad to be here. I went to the SDAO conference, the one session for how to behave yourself on the board, and I think, I'll tell you, it was really good. It was as good as the one I attended, the first one several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and I met a gentleman there that knew me from DHS, and it was good to see him. And he said, "I heard you guys have had some issues." I said, "Hey, we've gotten all straightened out. We're on the right track." He said, "I'm glad to hear that." Thank you.
All right, thank you, Guillermo. Rebecca?
I also attended a session for SDAO conference. I am continuing to work with the board policy committee, and I joined Jason and Charles. Jason did a wonderful job with the Project Homeless Connect on January 30th, the resource event down in Seaside. So yet another great event. Jason, thank you very much for doing such a good job on that. And it's just a really good outreach for us, I believe. And I really would like to see us, be a little more intentional about signups for, whoever could help out there. Some of maybe our community partners or, or board members or, whoever has the time. Because when we are talking with people who are passing by, then Jason has the time to really have conversations with people, meaningful conversations, so that they understand bus service better. So, I hope that next year we can, and I'd be happy to work on that so we can get a few more signups. That was it for me.
Thank you. Pamela?
I don't have anything to report except I tried to access the handouts for the session. Didn't work out. I asked Mary, and I understand, Craig, that you have been successful and.
You're talking for the SDAO session?
Right.
Yeah, I can get all those for you.
Okay, well, that'd be great,
Oh,
thank
that
you.
would be great.
Yeah.
I would, yeah.
They should really provide them, is my
Mhm.
opinion.
They should, but,
Yeah, there were a couple of good slides there, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
yeah.
And then they recorded several of the sessions where you can go back and watch them if you were.
Zoom recording.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, no, I think they had actually professional.
Oh, and then when
Recordings.
you go to SEO site.
Yeah.
Under resources.
I was, one of the days I had me time, I was trying to other one, so.
Yeah.
I'll say, no, that was.
Nope.
Hey, were you finished, Pamela?
Yes.
Okay. Paul,
Good morning.
how are you today?
Thank you very
Charles?
I too attended the Homeless Connect with Rebecca and Jason. I was impressed by how much how folks were, I guess it's houseless, I guess it's a more appropriate term, how much they knew about the bus service. They knew, I was impressed that they knew routes, they knew everything, and how much they use us. I don't know how they're doing that, maybe I think Clatsop Health may be giving out passes, or somebody's giving out passes on the bus, or maybe we're just doing it ourselves, which would be a great thing, but they were so appreciative of us, and I'm always startled by, you think you know what the face of homelessness looks like, no you don't. It's not what you think it looks like. And the woman I talked to, she's my age. I can't imagine having a roof over my head. I complain on dinner not really all the time, so I can't imagine what it'd be like to be my age and on the streets. And so, but I agree with Rebecca. I think it's an event that we should all try to make it. It's not a long time really. It's about 4 hours, 6. But it does give Jason has particulars. I think he didn't expect me to know the particulars, but what it allowed me to do, what Rebecca to do, was talk to the people who were just there to get stuff. And small price we pay to pass out I was surprised how many of them have been hit by cars. I was like, really, is that happening a lot? And so they really enjoyed the reflector stuff we gave them. And I will say this, what touched me is that one of the guys, the homeless guys, came up to me and said, they have free food over there. So want me to get you some? Here's a man who doesn't know his next meal, trying to find out how he can get me something to eat. And I'm like, Paul, I ate enough. So I eat plenty. But it's really not a depressing experience at all. If anything, it's an enlightening experience, and I just think we should continue to do it. So there's a time when we need to discuss your budget or whatever. I'd love to be on that discussion because I think it's money well spent. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Charles. So I attended all 3 days of the SDAO conference. Some really, really good workshops this time. I think this was one of the better SDAOs that I've ever attended. So the one that I accidentally got into was probably the most interesting, not something that we're gonna probably get into soon, but was the AI class and what the different programs can do to shoot out a newsletter or picture or something like that. It was very, very interesting. Attended the policy committee, and I think we're making good headway on the board policies. And I also wanted to say I'm really excited at the progress that SETD has made in the 10 months that we have been working to get back up to where we have been. And I think that's all for me. Okay. Sure.
I want to thank, Mary for the Rosa Parks commemoration in this month. I think I don't get excited about Black History Month because Black History is American history. We were around from the beginning. So to us, it's almost, wow, Black history is American history. Most folks don't know that when the folks showed up at Jamestown, they sent enslaved people on board on the shore first to make sure that the natives were not, were not killed. So you could say that African Americans were around before the settlement at Jamestown. But I thank Mary for just thinking of that, and I appreciate that because it meant something to me. So thank you.
Welcome. It's a privilege.
Thanks.
It's a privilege to feel. Lot to do with transportation, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to financials. Before we
Good
get to-
morning.
Morning. I wanna say one thing, I wanna ask one question before you start talking, Kelly, please. So last month, we had our training with John. How is the board feeling about looking at the financials now? Do we have a
Quite
better
bit
understanding?
Oh, yeah, it was good.
We
Okay,
still have questions.
Yeah.
no, and that's good. So,
But it
okay,
was very enlightening.
okay, so everybody's got a little bit better understanding
Yes.
than before? Okay, all right, Kelly, go ahead.
Good morning,
Oh,
can you hear
yes.
me okay?
Wait a minute, one more question, Mary?
Kelly, I just wanted to let you know that I went and looked at what you sent me and what has been printed, even though there's a page 11 not here. It looks like everything is here in the packet, okay? Do you think
And
so?
that's what I thought too, because I usually
Okay.
start with my dashboard and then roll into the profit and loss.
Yep.
So it looks correct to me.
Okay, thank you.
Good news, because we like good news. We got our first quarter federal funding reimbursement in February, but as I had hoped that it would come through, so excited about that and glad that that has processed. Makes me feel a little bit better about moving forward. Still working on second quarter. There's still some glitches in the system for us to be able to submit all of our quarterly reporting to be able to finish up with our reimbursements for second quarter, but I'm hoping that we'll have some answers on that this week. I checked my email this morning and I didn't see anything. So hopefully when I get back on Tuesday, I can get that done. We did get an extension to the end of the month to be able to get that in. Numbers are looking good as far as finances. We did get our stiff payments, so we get 2 stiff payments quarterly. One of them we received in January, the other one we received in February. The one we received in February is the one that our loan payment comes out of. So we'll actually see those funds next month in our financials, but just so you know, it's there. So we did receive that. I had sent out an email to update all of the signers on the accounts. I haven't heard from the bank if everybody has gone in and signed yet. I sent an email before I left town. And I haven't heard back from the bank, so I don't know who's left to sign on that. To get that gets the signers updated. Debbie and Craig. Okay, come on, guys.
I'm going today.
Me too.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
That gets our signers updated and opens our contingency account. So then I can move all that money over into the contingency account. So I will do that next week when I get back is my hope for that. Sorry, just kind of looking at my notes. I sent out the budget training information to everybody on the board. So if you haven't already, please sign up for those. It's great information. I get something out of it every single year. So I think it's a good thing for you guys to be on. I know a couple of you have signed up, so thank you. Other than that, do you have any questions about the financials for January?
Pamela?
So in general checking, there's over 200,000. What is all that money? What are the pots of money that go into that account? Or maybe if I ask several questions, maybe it can be all wrapped up. And then you have a payroll account and the LGIB. What I really, there's the account on ODOT loan funding for 201,000. I thought that all ODOT money was to be delineated when we receive it, what it's for, what the expenses are.
The last bit of the ODOT money that we had gone ahead and utilized that, just pulled that out of that loan because at that point in time, we were not getting our funding from ODOT and they hadn't processed our stiff payment for first quarter. So we were able to utilize those funds. And so they're just kind of sitting at this point in time as a backup. at some point, if we don't use it, and maybe the next year, if it's not needed, if all of our funding processes correctly, we could take that money and make a balloon payment on our loan. But Paul and I had decided to utilize those funds just as a backup measure because we weren't getting our funding at that time.
So there's the, box with the 1 million plus, I presume that's the loan. So why isn't the 201 figure deducted from that?
Because we haven't made that payment. We utilized all of the $1 million.
Oh, that's just the payments, but not the actual spending.
Right.
Okay, and then, so what money goes into the payroll account? It's only $2,300.
It's transferred, so the money that's transferred into the payroll account is every 2 weeks when we process payroll. We just transfer in money to make the payroll and pay the taxes. And we always transfer a little bit extra, so then there's always a little bit residual. And then times if we have like a final check or something that's a smaller amount, then there's money in there for that. Or I transfer if I need to.
There is a policy that the board has to approve transfers. Is payroll just too clumsy? Not clumsy isn't the right word. Too laborious to show, at least show the board how much has been transferred from one account to the other?
I could show, it's generally 2 transfers a month. So there's some months, 2 months of the year that we have 3 payrolls. And so then there's 3 transfers that month. Go ahead, Paul.
Kelly, if I might point out, ma'am, the payroll transfers are in the next section. It shows exactly how much money was transferred from the general checking to payroll for each of the payrolls.
Where is that?
Just underneath the available balances that you're looking at on the dashboard.
So that on the dash,
Oh, I see, those are payroll things.
that's for the current month.
Okay. Okay, that's it, thank you.
Anybody else? I had a couple for you, Kelly.
Go for it.
On income, so I don't remember seeing this and I didn't go back to look. Land sales, US Fish and Wildlife, 4210. We got $158. What's that for?
I don't have an exact answer for that. It's something that comes from the county. It's not something that we budget for. It's super tiny. We get it maybe a couple times a year. Yeah, I don't have an exact answer. I can get some more info for you though.
It's just, I just hadn't noticed it before and it's a small amount. But then the other one too, that was a little bit bigger than normal is the other income. And it was
Yes.
5,700 this month.
So if you look on your dashboard, Pam had asked for this to be on there, I believe last month. So
Oh, I see. Okay.
it doesn't break it out by specifics, but we had scrapped some buses, and so we had gotten like $4,100, I think it was, for those scrapped buses, and then a couple of other miscellaneous things within that.
Okay, I see that now. Okay.
Was that other income you were referring to?
I think that was all the questions I had this month.
So,
Um, Yeah, that's it. Charles?
Tracy, so we're caught up on STIF funds, and so what do they do next?
At this point, we are caught up, so we won't get another stiff payment until next quarter.
That generally happens sometime during the quarter, beginning of the quarter, sometime in.
Usually it usually hits the first month of the quarter, maybe like the mid to the end of the month.
If that happens, then we are back on track then. We're back on track now, I guess. So we are.
I'm sorry, I can't hear
We're
you.
back on track now as far as getting funds.
Yes, we are back on track. So we had gotten our stiff payment for this quarter, the 2 payments, we had gotten one in January and then one at the beginning of February. So we are caught up for our STIP payments.
Oh, cool, thank you.
And we're caught up at this moment for our reimbursements as well. So they have paid our,
What about 5311?
that was paid. Mhm.
Okay.
We received 5311 and 5310 in
5310,
February.
okay.
Mhm. So, and I'm hopeful that when we process our reimbursements for second quarter that they will process quickly. I know the first quarter ones processed obviously slow for us because we had a couple of things that we had to finish up at our January board meeting, but I know that they had processed slow for some other districts. So I'm still waiting to see, I really want to see how quickly our second quarter payments process before I really look at bringing back Route 15. So I know that's a hot item, but I just want to make sure that we're, all of our funding is processing appropriately before we jump that gun.
Thank you. Pamela?
Should we be concerned that at this month that expenses are higher than income, $111,000? Is there money coming? Sometimes months are less than others, income?
It's just kind of the way it falls on some months, because we didn't have reimbursements yet. So, we spend and then we get reimbursed. But if you look at the budget, the actual year to date, and where we're sitting, and we're sitting well in there. Some months we just don't have a lot of income, but we still have those same expenses. And so I try really hard, budget wise, to monthly budgets to show as close to how it's actually going to go. I don't take my budget and just divide it by 12. So that's why there's, some differences there. Some months we have more income and less expenses, and some months we have less income and more expenses. The goal is to balance at the end of the year.
Rebecca?
This is a question that kind of an open-ended answer maybe, because we're not there yet, but timber sales, the income we received from that, we're gonna need to have a conversation about that at some point as political winds change and those are gonna dry up. And so Craig, Kelly, where do you help us to, we might as well start being prepared. How are we going to go about this? And I know that's a bigger conversation than we have for talking just about and approving the budget here and the finances, but any thoughts on that could help us?
I have actually already reached out to the county about that to see what they're expecting. And I was told that they're expecting a 35% decrease, which is actually better than what I thought it was going to be. So I think, we'll just have to look at what our property taxes are going to be looking like. I think our next budget for property taxes will be higher than it was this year, obviously. So I'm hopeful that if we continue to be careful, and pay attention to our budget and our spending, I think we'll be okay with the loss of timber revenue. It's not easy, it's not fun. But I think we just will be strategic about it. And Craig and I will go over that more as we start to do the budget for the next fiscal year. I actually have to have a budget draft to ODOT by the end of March. So that's something that I've already started to work on there.
Thank you. Anything to add on that, Greg?
Yeah, we're aware there's gonna be a decrease. We hopefully will have final word as to what their final projection will be. Usually they overestimate and they come in with a lower number. We'll see.
Okay, thank you.
Just one more. Where is the money coming from for the contingency fund?
It's
Coming from LGIP. So it's our
Okay,
property taxes.
okay, great, thank you.
Anything else on finances? Okay, Mary, will you enter those into the minutes, please? Number 9, continued business, approval of board policy updates.
I say one more thing.
Can I add to this?
Yes,
Sorry.
of course you can, because you're a very big part of this.
So I went back and checked on what policies were in our board pack in January. And of course, and in the minutes, they're correct, okay? So that's what we have in the board pack, okay?
Was 304? Okay, so
No,
we
it was
will get
not.
back up on the, okay.
What is entered in the minutes is exactly what was put in the board.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that isn't what I meant to say. There are ones that haven't been put
Many, and we have more of this meeting, and we still have more after this.
in. Okay,
So this is still not gonna be the end.
okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, approval of board policy updates. So you guys have a few board policies that we had looked at. I found,
And I apologize for the formatting that I can't seem to get out of these.
that's all right, it's legible. I found two I had questions about. So on page 26, B 807. I thought we had added a number 5, executive director will report to the Board of Commissioners when deficiencies have been corrected. On page 26.
Yes, we did. We have the notes.
Oh, thank you for catching that, Debbie.
And then I had one question on page 33, B 815. I guess I'd never seen any of this, and on the first line, it's Sunset Empire Transportation District Ordinance 2018-01. We have ordinances? I would like to see those.
Or page
Yeah.
33.
Many ordinances, historically many ordinances, but yeah,
Are they in our three-way binder? Yes, are they?
definitely, I think. If you want me to, next meeting, we can discuss those, or we can put them on the agenda for the next meeting. and
Let's
go
do
over
that,
them.
yeah.
Again, I was shuffling papers here, what,
33.
in regards to, I got it, but I don't know what you said about it.
The ordinance 2018-01.
Okay.
Yes, you have orders.
And yes, we do have ordinances.
We can discuss that.
We will discuss those next month. That's all I have. And Pamela,
So on page 30, public records is done by the executive assistant rather than the board of commissioners. I thought,
we okay the fees.
okay. Okay,
And the policy,
oh, I see.
because it's a board policy. Public records,
Okay,
was,
so- Okay,
that policy was given to the board for their approval prior.
And I just got one quick question on page 25, policy P803, paragraph 3, saying the board will authorize transfers of appropriations from one fund to another or within a fund. I'm not sure I understand what a transfer within a fund might be.
probably it makes no sense.
I was thinking, and I know Pam had asked this of Jeff quite often, like if, I'm gonna use Mary's because she never used to get to
Oh, yeah,
use her money. If Mary has a budget of $6,000 for outreach and we start getting low on payroll, on what we budgeted for payroll, Jeff would just take it out of Mary's budget. And I think the board would kind of like to know where, when we're low on something, where that money's coming from. Is it coming from Mary's budget? Is it coming from Jason's budget?
Yeah, there was a big,
And Jeff used to always say, it doesn't really matter where it's coming from, we just have to
Right.
fix it.
So
So,
it does matter where it's coming from.
so
I
then-
think so.
and so I think that's, I think, isn't that kind of what?
right, there was a big problem in terms of he had hired more staff. And the budget hadn't changed, where did you get the money? And another board member asked the same thing, and he said here and there. Well, labor is one of your largest expenses, so if you have, say, it was about 4 employees, that extra money is going to be used every month, so where does it come from? And that's what we're trying to prevent in this, maybe the wording of the last part isn't clear.
My concern on this is that the board has certain responsibilities to look at the budget at a high level. Materials and supplies, personnel, that sort of thing. And it looked to me like a transfer within a fund might be taken as referring to those funds that staff has the prerogative to move around within those major categories. And if that's the case, I don't know that we would want a resolution or a supplemental budget for that kind of movement. There's certainly nothing wrong with the board being aware, but we don't want to slow up the process to, you know what I'm saying, Kelly? Within a major expense group, if we want to move money around because expenses are not exactly what we anticipated, that should be a staff decision.
And I agree. So basically, when we budget, there's personnel services, materials and services, and capital outlay. And those are the 3 like categories. And basically we could simply say, this is our personnel service number, this is our material and service number, and this is our capital outlay number. We don't have to line item those numbers by budget law. We choose to line item those so that it gives a better picture and it's a better understanding. But within materials and services, if say Mary's budget isn't being spent and we need funds in maintenance, for instance, it's all in the same category, and that does move around. You can move within that without anything extra. Reading it as it sits where it's within a fund, I read that more as a 5311 fund, 5310 fund, and I'm not sure what that transfer would be within that unless it's more money needed. Like 5310 has salary, for the salary, and then it has preventative maintenance. So if it was, I read it more as something like that, but that is something that we actually have to go through ODOT to be able to even do. So it's a much greater process than just going through the board. So I'm not sure I quite understand the way that policy is written, and maybe it's something we need to look into a little bit more.
Yeah,
That was gonna be good.
that's kind of, that's my concern, is that I don't know what that transfer would look like, and if there even is such a transfer. So should it be in here, and should it require the board to create a resolution for it?
No, I agree with you, Paul. I would like to look at that one a little bit more,
Committee.
please.
Thank you.
So we're gonna eliminate that.
We're gonna take 803 out.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, I would entertain a motion to pass B 807, B 808, B 809, B 810, 811, 815, 816, 817, 901.
And I would some of
Okay. And Rebecca seconds, any other discussion?
Just one.
All right,
On page 27, Board of Commissioners assets, really doesn't say what the board's supposed to do. We're supposed to, it doesn't say what to do. I mean, we don't do, staff does the appraisal and the inventory, unless we do dispose of surplus property, we wouldn't notify the insurance company of any change. So what is it actually that the board is to do?
I think we just need to make sure that, it's being done.
But it doesn't say that. It says the district.
Just to ensure an adequate level of
We
insurance.
could go back and, for expediency's sake for today, we could go back and wordsmith that so that it's more specific. I don't know if we're gonna be doing that now, today, to change.
We will need an amended motion.
I would amend that,
Yes,
the seconder would.
So you're taking out one of them.
B eight
Yes.
oh eight,
To remove 808.
And we're gonna eliminate that.
send it back to committee.
Yep.
Did you second that, Rebecca?
Yes, I do that, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, approval of the amendment first.
Okay. Commissioner Busman,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Legria,
yes,
Commissioner Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes,
Commissioner Romero,
Yes.
And then approval of the original motion.
Commissioner Busman,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Legria,
Yes.
Commissioner Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
yes.
Commissioner Romero,
Yes.
Thank you.
both motions passed.
Thank you, Mary.
just have one more question. Craig, is there any possibility of investing contingency funds? Or is that,
Yeah, we could put it in the LGIP or something like that. We could do something.
so we be making some money? Anybody can, legally?
I don't wanna put it in the, I want it in its own account, so we're not accidentally spending it.
Okay, is that,
And if we put it in a CD, then you can only take it out at certain times,
right,
unless you ladder it.
CDs are up
The
relatively.
CDs are up, and you could ladder it where you put, I'm just gonna throw out numbers, $100,000 into a CD today, and then in 3 months, put another $100,000 in. And then it just, then you can grab that money if you need to,
Yeah.
without penalties and.
So
It's
maybe-
going in a money market account.
Oh, it is,
Oh, right,
Okay.
yeah, but that's, yeah.
Well then,
Thank you,
thank you, Kelly.
We forgot.
Mary.
I was just gonna say, we have a policy, we have a policy on investment that we might wanna look at, but there was I believe some kind of a saving account that we used.
Okay.
It was a state, some kind of a state savings that we actually put.
okay,
I'll
so,
find the policy to see.
And then-
It doesn't restrict anything, I'm just saying we do have a policy.
and that would be a separate account like Debbie
Yeah.
proposed? Okay, thank you.
Because we do wanna be able to access the money in case of emergency if we need to, if we run out of other monies. which we're
It
not.
will be in its own separate account.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to update on ODOT requirements, how are we doing?
We are doing really good. We had 3 requirements that we still had to fulfill, and 2 of those were approved last month, which enabled us to get our first federal funds reimbursement in quite a while. Thank you, Arla,
Yes.
for assisting
Thank
with
you,
that.
Lila.
That was a big step for the organization. And Kelly, thank you for all you did to get us to this point. So yeah, that's the update. We have one more thing to do, and that's we have to present a draft budget to ODOT by the end of March, which is one of the easier requirements, actually.
Fiscal 25.
$425.
Okay, good, that's good.
Pamela?
So how, tied to the budget that will be proposed in March, what, for June, you know, because this will be doing what in?
If I'm correct, the one that the board will be working on, Kelly would do a draft for that anyway and present that. And then we work from there. So that's basically what she's going to be doing for ODOT. What she gives to ODOT may be a little bit different than the one that she ends up giving to us another month or two, because things can change. So in the real world, what we get, the first budget we look at is kind of a draft budget, and that's what she's gonna be doing.
So would ODOT be sending comments on the budget that the board would see?
That I don't know.
We have no idea, maybe.
Okay.
We will just have to wait and see.
Territory.
Okay.
Sometimes you just have to wait.
It comes with the spring, Pamela.
It's like Santa Claus on Christmas morning, you just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we just don't want cold and stocking.
That's it, huh? That was easy.
Yeah.
All right, I'm excited about all of this.
Yes.
Board meeting location options. We talked last month about moving our meetings around a little bit, maybe going to South County, maybe having a couple in the evening throughout the year. Mary was good enough to volunteer, I think, she volunteered.
No.
To look at venues and where we might be able to.
Volunteer how they do in the military. You
Yeah,
volunteer.
that's right.
Well, there's good news and bad news. The city of Seaside, the council chambers, they were responsive and said, yes, we could use the chambers. They didn't want us to use them after hours. Excuse me, have a later meeting, because I proposed either during the day or an evening meeting, due to staff would have to stay there. And I mean, overtime, and they can't get overtime, of course, but we talked about it, and I said we could probably be there during the day and have a meeting at a regular time. And the problem that they're coming up with is Zoom. They don't want us to use their Zoom. They're not gonna share their Zoom, like we probably wouldn't share ours either, because it's been a lot of work for Jason to get this to where it's at. And so that's a problem, because we're required now to have our meetings available to the public. So the Seaside Library was also have a date that the library is available, but the same problem with the Zoom. And then the Bob Chisholm Center would be available as well, and it's very nice, but we literally have to take our Zoom. And so, Jason, what does that look like?
Right. So we're not moving the system. But what we can do is, I won't get into the technicals side of things, but I can be there with a laptop and an external camera. I mean, it wouldn't be as fancy or as beautiful looking as this one is, but it's doable. Wherever we go, it's doable with what I can bring to the table. We will go ahead and test it and flesh that out before any final decision is made. So that's the short of it, right?
So we could take our own Zoom to the Seaside Chamber.
We could, it wouldn't be this.
We wouldn't have the screen, see council.
We couldn't see the people unless we had in front of the laptop.
Yeah, I could go as far as bringing our own TV if we had to. So, I mean, I know that some, agencies are really picky about how we would use this stuff as I would.
Right.
So, but it could be done, just so you know.
Okay. But we need, what kind of a hookup, will we need a cable outlet or anything like that, or just?
Quite frankly, everything can be done over Wi-Fi.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Was there a cost at the Chisholm Center?
It's included in the rental of the room, right?
Yes,
That we've had that.
right. And
They're
it's
reasonable.
There's small fees, yes.
on all, even on the Seaside Council?
Yeah, and I'm sorry,
Actually,
I
I think
find
you
it.
can try.
No, my notes right now, but the council, there was no fee.
Yeah.
No, but the library, yes, and baptism, yes. And it's per hour, you know, it is per hour, but normally when we rent baptism, we do not get charged a fee. We have not been in the past, they waive it, because we're another public entity. And the library, though, I believe we did end up paying for the last time we used it.
And that's a very small venue. That's,
Yes.
they just have a conference room that I don't think it would accommodate.
Yeah,
Meeting.
it's about the same size as this room. Their conference room at the library, don't you think it's about the same as this? Don't-
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
It's
within the
roughly the
library,
same
they have a classroom. That's right, they would
Oh,
probably
they have a
allow
nice,
the
yeah, it's a
classroom.
nice
Yes.
conference room, has
I'm sorry, that is.
In for lectures and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah,
Use
it's
for
nice.
lectures.
And Bob Chisholm, they are, I haven't actually heard back from them, but we've used them before. Like the library, they're pretty busy. But I'm looking at, I was shooting for a date in April, if that sounds okay for the April meeting, before we start budget, and then we can, you know, let everybody know that we're starting budget, we're looking for input and things like that, you know, so right now, the library is open on the 24th of April, if we go that route. And as far as the city council, I didn't get the dates part, we were just hammering out who needed to be there. They feel better if their IT people would be there. So if we had it during the day, they can actually assist as well. And they wanted to do that, so.
Tracy?
And I had a question, just to clarify, if we use the library, their hours of operation are longer into the evening, so we wouldn't have a staffing issue, correct?
I didn't ask for evening, I didn't know that they would, their hours are,
Their hours are,
yeah,
their
they're hard
hours
to work
go
on.
into the evening, so.
Yeah,
That would be an advantage to me, because I really like the idea of after hour, after 5.
yeah,
Because, we're getting, we're accommodating additional people
Yeah.
for that. That's a good point, Tracy, is that if there's, because they do close at what, I don't know, 8:30, 9.
Eight or 8:30.
So, if we could get in on that, maybe a slightly earlier, I don't know, 6 to 8 meeting.
Would you like a motion, Madam Chair?
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Okay.
How these rooms fill up, we may wanna make a decision, and move it, because wait till March, it may be.
So you said the library was available the 24th of April.
That's not our usual.
23rd, no, it's not our usual day, it's not available on our usual day.
Okay, and I don't have, if we met sometime that week, isn't a big deal to me
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, so that's what I went for, I shot for that week, just a couple days earlier with them. But again, this is a during the day appointment, so
Yeah.
it was available from 9 to 10. So we could come in at 9 or 10, so, I have written down, I'll call them back and see if they're available from 6 to 8, does that sound okay?
Mhm.
Which one? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and,
And again, on the 23rd, the dates may move, but should I still shoot for this week?
I would.
Okay,
if that date, today, if we could make a decision to give you a couple of options. So, if 6 to 8 on the 24th works, then we should give her, give her the authorization to go ahead and set it. Maybe a couple extra dates.
Yeah.
Not the 22nd.
The 23rd,
Can't do
that's,
Tuesday.
That's me.
Yeah.
And Jason,
I
I'm
understand.
thinking you probably would wanna go down and check everything out.
Check everything
Also-
out, yeah, and then the most important thing would be to be given at least 30 minutes to set prior to the start of the meeting.
So I would say at this point, if Mary and Jason want to work with the library in Seaside and see what you can come up with for that week.
Okay.
Would be good.
Okay.
And I don't think we need a motion for that, so I think we're good with that.
Okay.
And then next month we can make a motion if we've got everything set up.
Okay,
So we'll wait till, we won't know the day we want it to next month.
Right. So it'll be sometime that week,
So, okay, so
wait and see.
we want to 24th, and we make a decision in March, we want 24th, and we call it, well, that's gone. The letter tells us that's gone, so she needs to be able to give some kind of hold, something, you know.
Mary can work on that.
They're very busy, so.
Yeah, they are.
Okay,
So are we authorizing, Mary and
Mary to put a
Jason
hold,
to go ahead and pick it, you know, whatever day is available that
I
week?
think you need to, and we
okay,
have to try to go
Okay.
there. If we wait till March, it'll be, April days will be gone.
then I would
So it's 22nd.
I would be okay with making a motion and then contingent on, can we do that? Contingent on making sure it's available and Jason has had a chance to go down
And then it's an evening meeting.
and it's an
And that's,
evening
that's,
meeting.
that's the game changer, is it being in the evening. Though, as far as locations.
Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Okay, not the 22nd though.
I'm unavailable.
Zoom,
You're
I'm not available on the 22nd?
It's not available.
Oh, maybe anything but the 22nd,
Wait a
evidently
minute,
you won't have a
what's that?
quorum.
Okay, so on April, the 22nd, no?
No.
Yeah, so I was looking at 23rd, 24th.
Well,
Okay,
that's
that
the only day, then it could be.
That's on Monday, I don't know if I.
That's Earth
Yeah.
Day, the 22nd.
Okay, I would take a motion.
Okay, cause I'll have one more comment after.
I'll make a motion, see if I have this right. I make a motion that Mary go ahead and see if she can get the library for us, the 23rd, 24th, or 25th. Jason will also be involved in making sure that he goes down and it works out for our Zoom system. And we move our April meeting to one of those 3 days in the evening for an evening meeting in South County. Is that right? Do I have a second?
I
And
second.
Tracy has a second.
But you can't repeat that.
No, Mary, I wanted to do it once. Rebecca, did you have something?
I just wanted to say that, you know, let's make sure that, you know, we have an agenda that is rich with,
South County stuff.
yeah, just, you know, let's really put some shine on that, you know, so that it's really meaningful to those folks and that we also are ready for public comments and that sort of thing.
Because I would invite some folks from Cannon Beach and North
Yes.
Cape, because they feel kind of left out.
Yeah. That would be great. Okay, any other discussion? Mary, roll call vote please.
Okay. Commissioner Bouchard,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes,
Commissioner Wickie,
Yes.
Commissioner Alegria. Yes. Commissioner Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Merrill,
Yes.
the motion passes.
All right.
At the library.
Okay, financial training updates. We have budget law training. Has everybody signed up for that?
I know.
I saw that, didn't I?
March 6th, I believe, 7th and 8th.
But March 6th up to me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's, the normal budget. Well, I'm confused.
So there's budget law being put on by
Oh,
ODOT.
okay, then what is
And there's 3 sessions. I have 3 sessions down.
I have March 12th, March 14th, and March 21st.
That's what I have.
That's right, the in-person, I think, is March 6th, I think.
I think so.
Should we do Zoom?
Yes. Yes.
Someone,
If-
I have a copy available. to
Sorry?
me, because I don't have it on my phone.
No,
4
the
hours.
12th is from 9 to 11:30. 14th, 9 to maybe 11:15. And then on the 21st from 9 to 10:30. So they're mornings.
12th, the 13th, and the
12th, 14th,
14th.
and the 22nd.
21st.
21st, I'm sorry, 21st.
21st, okay.
Okay. And again, what was the one for the 6th?
I have the
Did
time
you
down
email
from
that
9
to
to
us?
11:30.
Kelly,
Nothing on this.
I'm sorry, what?
did you email that to us or did you send that out? Can I help get that out again, maybe, that information?
I sent it in an email to the board.
Okay.
I
Oh,
can
yes.
resend it.
That would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, send it one more,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'll resend it today.
thank you.
There was nothing for the system.
Okay,
That's
so
helpful. That's helpful.
There's, if you wanna do in-person training, I don't remember, I think the date is the 6th, and it's in Albany, I think it is. And it's one day, it's
Yeah.
all day, so you go one time, you're done. Otherwise, if you do it on Zoom, they break it up into 3 sessions.
That's where the 6th is coming in at then.
Yeah, but I'll send those back out today.
Thank you. I think I registered, so I think I'm good to go.
The in-person is usually very well attended too, so if you're gonna go.
There it is.
I know.
Okay. I have it, Kelly.
I have so much spam coming to my box now. What day did you send that out on?
She's gonna resend it today,
Okay,
so you have it.
Yeah.
I don't know why, I think I talked to Mary about this. I have so much spam coming.
Talk to me about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads into our next one under new business, which is our budget calendar. And then a question I had kind of with the training too, with budget coming up. And we've got the email for the budget training, but what about our civilian folks on the budget committee? And we used to do, last year we skipped it, a budget training for the whole group that was just a couple, 3 hours
Here,
here.
in-house.
And
By the executive director.
Is that embedded in
That's
these
dangerous.
3 sessions or
well,
at the
that's,
beginning?
I think the 3 sessions will probably cover any of that. But then we've got our civilians, our other
Citizen
7
committee.
other board members.
Can they get on the training that's being presented in March?
Can they do the same training?
I'll have to look into that.
We haven't offered it to them in the past that I know of, that online training. I don't know what they had online, it's usually been in person.
I don't think, or at least I don't remember it.
No.
And so if they can't, because it appears we'll probably have 1 or 2 new members, because we had Mary resigned,
Yes.
Mary?
No.
Oh,
Mary on the budget committee.
oh,
Um,
she can't, Mary Parker can't.
no, Mary Parker can't resign.
She's on.
You're dreaming.
Didn't
So I guess if, and they may not wanna do a 3-day training, even though they're half days. So are you going to offer them a training?
Yeah, well, me and Kelly can put something together.
See what happens when you're not here, Kelly?
That's really not fair.
I think making it available, one of the things we found out is that a lot of those who were at the training, for the budget training, were surprised at some of the numbers they saw when we were going through our rough spot. So I think we had to make sure we tell them, you can come to this, because I was saying, I don't want to specifically say somebody, but they were like, well, what does this happen? We talked about that at the budget training.
Right.
So,
Okay,
we at least make sure they're invited to come.
all right. So Mary's put 3 dates together for budget. How's that look for everybody's calendar?
All right.
Looks good. And one thing that I want to mention was that the board policy now says that you will have 2 meetings regardless, that that's something that the board policy committee said, so.
So the first 2, May 2nd and May 23rd are definite.
Yeah.
We don't get out of the May 23rd, may be short.
Where we, May 2nd, 22nd?
May 2nd and May 23rd.
Okay,
are definites, and May, on June sixth would be only if we haven't finished. Or we finished, but there was no public comment, no room for public comment, then we'd have to do June sixth.
Sounds good.
The 23rd one, obviously is following, just so you know, following our board meeting, so it'll be a longer day for you folks.
Okay.
Excuse me.
We can draw names and whoever loses buys lunch.
Okay.
Okay, I would,
One on the second will be a full day,
10 to 3, yeah.
and then the one the next day will be after our schedule.
Yes.
We'll go directly into it.
Yes, looks like it. Mary's not giving us any extra time.
10 to 3.
We'll have to have a short agenda that.
Yeah.
Short board agenda.
Okay, I would entertain a motion that these be our, oh, do you want to check with the,
I need you to
These are
approve
them, okay,
the dates and then I let the board,
Okay.
the budget committee know.
okay, I would entertain a motion that we set these 3 days for Rebecca.
I move that we set these 3 dates for our budget committee meetings as specified on page 40 of our meeting packet. Please refer.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, any other discussion? Looks good. All right, Mary, you want to do a roll call vote?
Commissioner Bushmet,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Alegria,
Yes.
Commissioner Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Romero.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Right. Now we get to appoint a budget officer.
The fun never
I
ends.
can say something.
All right. Let you volunteer.
As much as I would love to be the budget officer, I really think a best practice going forward is gonna be having the finance director being in charge of the budget. We will
Amen.
still be working hand in hand with all the other departments to come up with the budget, but this is a positive step for the organization to move forward.
And I would also agree, and we do a vote on this?
I think somebody needs to make a motion, a
I
second.
will move that we support Kelly in her position as the budget officer for this fiscal year.
All right, and a second?
Second that.
All right, any other discussion other than I wanna say, I think she's up to it and I think she's ready for this.
Yes, she is.
And it will be way better than last year.
Is she blushing or is that just
I
the
think
sun in
she's
Arizona?
blushing, I don't know.
I haven't got to go out in the sunshine yet.
Will the executive director be around?
Yes.
Mary, you wanna take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Bushmet,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Alegria,
Yes.
Commissioner Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Romero.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, congratulations, Kelly.
Kinda.
Thank you, I think.
Kinda.
It'll be good this year. It'll be way better than it was last year.
All right. New business, more of, new buses?
Yes, working with Arla, we were able to get the 4 Cat D bus grant instated. Thank you, Arla.
Thank you, Arla.
Thank you, Arla.
So that's included in your packet. Major difference is we had to commit local funds to do our match rather than state stiff funds. Because there was no assurance at that point that we'd be able to commit the stiff funds to that. So we rewrote the grant with local funds being used as the match.
What
What
does
are
that
the
mean?
Matching.
108,000.
What does that mean exactly? I mean, I know it means no state money, but the local money would be.
Local money would be like property taxes. We bring in.
And those-
General fund.
Do you have to pay that now or do you wait until delivery?
Wait till delivery.
Is there any possibility, like, most of the loan will be paid off by then? So the interest payments could be used as part of the money?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just, a thought.
Well, we're gonna stand in line for buses, they're not gonna show up.
it's gonna be a while.
It's gonna be a while on those buses, you're right.
Yeah, but 100,000
Right,
doesn't come.
but it'll be a while before we get them, so the probably loans maybe paid off. What is?
So it's just
they
a
give us
thought
a
when
lead
you're
time?
doing the
I think
loan,
these
I
are,
mean, the budget.
9 months,
Okay,
at the earliest.
okay.
Isn't that about right?
It's taken anywhere, depending on what you order, anywhere from a year to 4 years.
Let's hope for the year on it.
Yeah, we wrote the agreement for 4 years.
Okay.
Do you have to make a down
Many of
payment?
us.
Do you have to make a down payment?
No.
Do they have to make it?
No.
Okay. I would entertain a motion, then we can,
I have one more question.
well, if we have a motion, then we can do more discussion. You making the motion?
I move that we.
For Debbie to sign.
Oh, you just signed the agreement. Yeah, sorry. I thought, well, I would do my motion to get new buses. I move that we ask the chair of the secretary for new cat ID buses.
Alright, in a second? Okay,
Discussion.
now discussion.
Are we replacing on the road buses or are we getting these as additional once we start back up on service? I got some on the road that's gotta go.
Yeah, we got some old ones on the road. I'm gonna view these as in addition.
Okay, so we don't have to mothball the others. Okay.
And there are 4, and our matching is 100,000-ish.
Underneath.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Yes, Commissioner Bushman,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes,
Commissioner Lewicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Legria,
Yes,
Commissioner Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes,
Romero.
yes.
Motion passes.
And having this last weekend ridden some of the TriMet buses, they could hopefully do something the same thing.
We need some updating.
Yes, they do.
All right. Looks like D is for those of us that made it to SDAO and talk about our classes a little bit. Pamela, do you
oh,
want to?
don't do that.
can I start?
All right, Rebecca wants to
Give you a
start.
little, give me a minute. Actually, I'm really happy to hear that Greg can secure materials and additional, whatever it is, so that those of us that didn't attend certain sessions can review those, because I sometimes, we have specific directives, and sometimes some of those sessions aren't really geared exactly towards board concerns. So I'm really looking forward to seeing those
Some
other
of the
ones.
materials.
And we have a conversation about it today, but I hope it's something that we use throughout the year, and it's just becomes something that we use as a resource when we refer to those. And it's not something that just sits on shelf. We go put the materials on the shelf and never think about it again. I hope we use those tools.
Give me a reference book for me, frankly, I'm sure most things we deal with will be dealt with at some level in the conference, so, yeah. Especially some of the things like, some of the things, not necessarily on finances, but it's other things, employee complaints, for example, or not saying that no one's committing harassment, but there's some things that can be said about harassment, particularly in some of the stuff going on in the news right now. So will we have one set of those, or you'll have one set we can borrow the set?
We can print off as many as we need,
It's a lot,
actually.
a lot,
Yeah.
it's right big.
I can make a packet, all of them.
That would be
So we can
nice.
send it out to you.
Because that audit is about 180 pages.
I'm not gonna print it, I'm gonna make a packet just like I do your board packs, and I'll email it to you. That'll be okay.
That'd be good, yes.
And if you want it printed,
Then we
print it.
can
No.
print it out.
No, I like that.
Yep, packet is like a board pack.
There was only, and I didn't make it to it, there was only one financial workshop this time. And I didn't take it, did
Was
anybody?
it the roundtable one?
Well, are we a member of the Finance Alliance? So I didn't go, it said members only. I have no idea what that means.
I think that was the only one that I.
Yeah,
Well, Thursday, there were actually two. There was one on audit and there was one on budget that I attended Thursday.
On Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday pre-conference hearings. And they were very good, very good
Budget
information.
was very good.
Yeah.
and I attended the leadership. It was supposed to be all day, but there was a Northwest Act meeting in Banks that day, so I went until noon and then I went to Banks to that Northwest Act. The one class, I went to the succession and recruitment. And the one thing, I mean, it was a really good class, but the one thing that I came away with, and Craig and I have talked about it, is getting to know our employees, especially Craig, where he might not have a chance to really get out there and meet every single employee. But the employee of the quarter, are you gonna start doing this? Craig is gonna start taking that employee out to lunch.
That sounds good.
So that he has a chance to meet all the employees sooner or later, we hope.
I've met everybody.
And when I worked at the county, the one thing that I heard a lot from county employees was most of them never even knew who the county manager was or ever saw them.
Sad.
So I think personal relationships are good.
Definitely.
I know it takes a lot of time,
Something about that.
but I still think they're good.
I worked
It's
for
nice
10
to
years,
know
we were in
your-
the same room.
It's nice to know.
Your point, so some county manager.
We both worked at the county. Oh,
Oh,
and so did Sue.
Never in the same room with the county manager for 10 years, yeah.
It's
So,
nice to know and put a face and a personality to a relationship. And so that's very positive.
I have a question, Lisa. Have we covered when we're gonna be doing our strategic plan session?
That's good.
That's
Coming up,
next.
okay, good, because, yeah, I have something to say about rolling this SDAO information over to strategic plan.
Calvin's filling that up. Just so-
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Okay,
SDAO over for now? Pam?
Okay, I don't remember all my notes. What I came out was some things that had bothered me about SDAO. And that is that the examples aren't about transit. I know more about fire districts from SDAO than I
That's
can't
Fair
use.
enough.
It's a care to know about.
But part of that is they can't do their classes specific to each one of the
Okay, well, they
groups.
have. I mean,
But there's a bigger amount of fire
right,
districts.
I understand that. I'm just asking for one. I think out of 3 days, you can give us one. The thing that I came out with, which Craig put on his trust is not an internal control. At first I went, what? I can't trust the person I'm working with? But then when you think about it, what you need to do is have all these checks and reviews that the budget, all your finances are good. And oftentimes, I've looked at a lot of nonprofits, what is the first word out of their mouth? I trusted them. No offense, the treasurer. And there are many ways to do fraud, which they told you about. So I think that's, and the other thing, going back to lack of transit, okay, how many library districts are there? So I just walked out of the session on libraries when I built a library myself, so out. And two, it's just not the same dynamics in terms of expenses. You're not dealing with the public that much except giving them books, so that, well, excluding banned books, which we will not go into. And so I think what I would like to see is a conference of all transit providers. And that's never been held, I think, okay, that's all I have to say. I'll summarize it.
I think it would be hard for SDAO just to do.
Madam Chair, there is a transit conference coming up in Seaside, October 26th through 28th.
I did see that.
OTA,
I saw that.
Oregon Transit Association.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
and they
what
have
is the
one every
date?
year.
October
Yeah,
26th through
that
28th.
But I was just gonna say,
It's our
It's a good
annual
one.
conference. We haven't had it for a while because of COVID, but we've got it back on.
I think we just got emails on that
We did.
a day or two
Just like
ago.
It'd be nice to
Yeah.
know what the offerings are, kind of give us a sense of what, would get out of it.
They're still putting the sessions
Yeah.
together right now.
Not specifically, but how,
October 28th.
I've never attended, so
I'll send you that link so that you can sign up to OTA so you get the emails, okay?
They'll
I,
have,
I do.
they'll have things to
You
get.
do? Yeah, you might.
Charles,
Yes, I agree
They're-
with
they're
them
great.
totally.
They're great.
One of my complaints was they had all these breakouts for our districts, and then they put everybody else in that, like the rest of that order. So we'd be in there with the cemetery, and the, some others I didn't know existed, and we'd be in that one sort of breakout. And I just think there's more, transit is dynamic and constantly changing. Cemetery district is not so.
Again,
Just say it's
Cause it
not,
did.
yeah, it's probably not so dynamic.
So-
But I mentioned this to one of the SDO people, I said, there's gotta be enough transit districts here to have our own breakout. And he said, no, I really don't.
so this is where you guys need to make these comments and send them to SDAO.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yesterday, we had Jennifer and I were in on it, and Craig usually is too, but the SEAO is putting on the transit district every quarter meeting, and all the transit districts come and they talk about different issues that relate to transit districts. So let me see if I can get you guys an invitation to that.
Yeah, because I've never seen that.
I mean, either.
Well, it's just started.
Okay.
This is only the second meeting. Like yesterday, they brought in the statistics for, liability losses and where they occur in transit and, workers' comp, things like that. So it was really interesting. It talks about,
Is it from SDIS or SDAO?
SDAO, yeah, or, yeah.
Funny we weren't invited to it, it's weird.
Huh?
Funny we weren't invited, Craig or.
I can't remember how I got signed up.
Oh, you were?
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't, I missed it.
This is the second one.
It's-
It's
I
brand
haven't
new.
heard of
It's
it.
more, you don't see many board members in these, it's more of an operational type of transit.
The thing I noticed when we hit COVID, everybody was flying by, just, what do we do? And it was just, what's the best thing to do? So we were sort of, I don't wanna say making it up as it's going along, but we were trying to react to what was happening like fast. And I thought it'd be, if there was some sort of, association of, not association, but transit people get together, because we may be in for, what if it happened again? So some things you can talk about, what did you guys do, what we did, what was better, what was best practices, what didn't make no sense at all. Because, I don't know how you guys reacted down in Clatsop County, but it was kind of, gotta figure something out,
It's a
right?
daily thing.
I mean, especially with COVID. Well, we hope if something like that hits again, we could.
I don't know.
Oh, go ahead.
Tracy?
Mine was just a question, how many did we have? How many transit districts were at conference?
I know there were at least 3.
Okay.
Tillamook was there, Basin Transit was there, and we were there.
We were there.
And we had a huge contingent. We had 5 board members and several staff that were at at the conference, so we were well represented.
What do you think that is?
Close by.
Yeah, close proximity.
Oh, you just think the others could, because I know the one that handles down the south coast, there's a couple of those districts. Tillamook Bay is a very good sized one, and there's others. Surprised.
But a lot of fire districts, I'd say at least half of what was there was fire districts.
Always. Always.
Rebecca?
I would like to make sure that with OTA and SDAO, all those things, that they really, like you were saying, Craig, if it's operations, then I'm not so sure if that's where we need to be in terms of training. You know, I'm all ears and, you know, I'll be happy to participate in something, but it's kind of, for me, it needs to hit the target for, you know, board functions, that kind of training, so. If you could, you know, I'm sure you would know how to poke through that and
Sure.
determine
Yeah,
what
I'll
would
check
be
that
best
out.
for us. I appreciate that.
Bus maintenance.
Yeah, that's like that.
And I'll send you a summary of my notes.
Oh, really?
All right, let's move on to strategic planning, because I think we need to work on that. I think we need to set up a meeting for that.
Just a day long.
Yeah.
Like
The last time we did it that I could
Holiday
find
Inn and
was, yes,
Yeah.
and that was 2021 or something?
22.
22,
Was it 22?
Yeah.
Seaside. Holiday Inn.
In the middle of the
Seaside.
pandemic.
22.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of our stuff has changed, needs to be changed at this point.
Yeah, we need to update it. This may be a good time for you to start thinking about how you envision the future. I have definite ideas that I'd like to present to you. And we still have a lot of evaluating to do. March 6th, we have the SDAO coming, inspecting our buildings. We have the 4 buses we're gonna be ordering, so we need to take a look at the overall picture. One of the main things I noticed in looking at the strategic plan for 2022, there wasn't much in here about our infrastructure. It was mainly technology. So, yeah,
We talked about, you know, getting the Warrington facility out of the tsunami zone. We talked about that, didn't we? And-
Yeah, but that needs to
Pie in
be,
the sky at the moment.
Yeah, I know it is, but it should have been in the report,
Oh,
and, we talked about it. Yeah, I know it's pie in the sky, but we have to keep it, even if it's in writing, and we know it's something we have to look forward to, because we don't wanna find out, it's too late. that we
Well, it has a
didn't.
place in the plan.
Yeah, exactly,
But
exactly, let's talk about it and see what,
sounds good.
because it's a prime zero there.
so you're asking for a little bit of, I mean, we need to
Yeah.
do some homework on this,
Yeah.
so that we're ready. We
Yep.
Yes.
pretty much honed what the discussion is gonna be about.
Correct.
so is there a date for it, or,
that's what we're,
okay,
Put it on my calendar.
do we wanna do it
Transit
in,
districts.
are we looking for
Vacation
March?
around it.
No, we got the inspection on March. I'm thinking like April.
Okay.
Sounds like it would be better.
April.
April, and that will be before budget.
Yeah.
Maybe in April.
I'll be gone half
It'll be a
the
busy year.
Hey,
As long as we're on Zoom,
There
it
you go.
may be super mobile.
How about April 1st,
Yeah.
April Fool's Day?
ooh,
First,
Some of my calendar call that Easter Monday. Is that a
that's
thing?
Easter Monday.
Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Well, my calendar says Easter
Yeah,
Monday.
is that a thing? Easter
I won't be available until after the 14th of April.
We gotta have Pamela back. And Rebecca, you'll be Zoom.
early April, I mean, my surgery is March 26th, so I'm probably, you know,
How about
may
meeting?
not be April 1st, I don't think it's gonna be happening for me,
How
even
about-
by Zoom.
We can do
You
it.
know, lying in bed, you don't wanna see me
We can do it on the
in bed.
same day we do the, board meeting.
Yeah, how about after the board
Oh, we
meeting?
could do that.
Just extend it. And we'll,
It's the 25th.
25th?
we'll come up with lunch. The board will
April
take, the board will
25th.
take care of lunch.
So we'll meet before.
Charles, you got your new card, right?
Oh, yeah, I'll let you use it, Tracy. Check it out. If you can get anything on it, let
So
me know.
March 25th, after our meeting?
March 25th,
March?
not April.
Oh, April 25th.
April 25th is not going to be our board meeting. April is when we're going to be down in Seaside,
Oh,
and that's the evening meeting.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're looking for, but we don't have to,
Oh.
I'm just saying that was April.
Well, then, I'd still entertain, the 25th, because we have to make it a separate time
Okay.
anyway.
Yeah. So the 25th?
Okay. And so we could do it 9 a.m. Want to
Yeah.
start early?
This is our strategic plan.
You can get up early.
So 25th in the morning,
April 25th, 9 a.m.
10 a.m.
Can we go for it?
9 sounds
Can we
fine.
go?
You wanna do 10?
It's up to you
I
guys.
know it doesn't seem
Up to
like
you
it.
5 a.m.?
Traffic canopy doesn't seem like a long way.
I'm okay with 10. Just remember, we have a 6 o'clock meeting that night on your way home,
Oh, where?
because that's our board meeting in Seaside that
So
night.
10 a.m. Through when? Because then you know if I need to make lunch.
Probably 2,
I'm thinking 2.
10 to 2
10 to 2.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. We'll,
On the
be prepared
25th.
so we won't be just all over the place.
Okay,
10 to 2.
entertain a motion. Charles, do you wanna make a motion for that?
Move that we, not schedule, we have scheduled already, that we, what am I?
Strategic planning, there we go.
Get that boy a
I'm motioning that we have a strategic plan.
On the 25th at 10.
On the 20, oh, okay, got it.
How about a
Yes.
second?
That.
Guillermo, seconds. Any other discussion on that? All right. Mary, you want to do roll call?
Commissioner Boothman,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Lubicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Legriel,
Yes.
Commissioner Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Romero.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
It's a tough meeting, you guys. Correspondence, something from Gary.
Yeah, Gary was the gentleman during public comment at our last board meeting. We talked about DHS, regional workforce, and maybe partnering together.
Oh.
So I emailed him that day, and we're gonna get together first week of March and see what we can do together, kind of work together. So,
That's great to hear. Thanks for the follow-up on that.
well, yeah, no, it was great of him to come to the meeting.
He's local, right?
I think he's regional.
Regional.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on correspondence?
DHS stands for?
Human Services,
Oh, okay.
isn't it?
Department of Human
I thought he
Services.
was, is that a part of, I thought his vocational rehab, is that a part of DHS?
I think so.
Okay.
And the acronym now is ODHS. Yeah, okay.
Oregon Department.
We confuse with the federal business.
Was that?
Not to be confused with the federal, which is Department of Health.
HHS.
Yeah, HHS. Too many acronyms.
Executive Director, what have you been doing this past month?
Oh, it's been a busy month. All right. Thank you, Jason.
Oh, look at this. PowerPoint and everything.
Wow.
Take a college class.
Who's that comment?
I think it's on closed captioning.
Oh, that's us.
All right, so let's go through here, managing resources. We have hired a new TSS we are in the process of interviewing and hiring a new TSS for our Warrenton operations. We called back one more temporary driver, Penny, to help fill our service needs. We also have a new facilities bus cleaner, Lauren, who's hired and is on board. And she's proving to be quite resourceful. She's filled in for the TSS position at times. So we're very lucky to have her. Procurement, we talked about the 4 Category D bus grants that you guys approved. We're gonna use the local funds for match. Getting back to the SDAO conference, me and Pam were specifically in a class that was really interesting. And it was the fraud class at special districts. And one of the things that they brought forward that I think we can start implementing here, if you guys agree to do that, is bank statements. Several cases of fraud within the state of Oregon were occurring where bank statements were being altered within the organization. They get sent to the organization, and I can get into specifics. They were printing checks out of order, so all of the checks were coming in at the top of the statement, so they were actually folding the statement down to cover up these out of sequence checks. So they're very crafty, stuff you wouldn't, think would occur. But one of the major things that me and Pam learned is that, and she brought this up, is trust is not an internal control. Don't be scared to ask questions like you guys did today. You're doing a great job of overseeing the finances within the organization. But in terms of that, I think that's something we can do immediately. And that's contact our bank and have the treasurer send a separate statement, the same as the one that comes here, so that it can be checked against our statement that we actually have here. It's a good internal control, and it could prevent problems that occur possibly.
Who gets the statement? Kelly, and then we'll get the second statement.
So,
Go ahead.
So we have all the mail that comes in, Mary opens it.
Okay.
And then she gives it to me, I sign it, that we received it, and then it gets distributed within the organization.
And that goes to statement.
Correct, correct. So this will have 2 separate statements. It's just another internal control. Obviously, if you're looking at it, I mean, it could have prevented what happened last April as you're seeing the accounts go down and down every month. So it's just another check.
That's another step.
Vote on that.
So if you guys are in agreement with that, I'll contact Jack over at the bank. We'll get that set up.
Can I ask just one more question about that, though, is
Sure.
about the process, is that, so Pam as treasurer gets that, and then when does that comparison happen? When she gets a copy of the bank statement?
She can actually come in if she wants to and compare it to what Kelly has.
Okay, when you get it?
Right.
Okay, good.
My
Not
personal
waiting,
address.
not
And if you
waiting
see-
for a
Yeah, and
meeting.
if you see anything that doesn't look right, question it.
And there is no electronic statement, we get mail.
It's a physical copy that's
Okay.
mailed to your home
We don't need
address.
any electronic statements.
And you can also compare that to the financial reports we're getting. They won't be exactly
Right.
to the penny, but you can kind of tell if there's anything really wonky. So,
All right, great. I'll contact Jack. I'll get the ball rolling on that.
Thanks.
So, all right, leading people. I did the Gerhardt City Council presentation. Introduced myself to Gerhardt on February 7th. I did. I always go early.
Finding us here on city.
GPS is not foolproof.
No.
I have the Warrenton City Council coming up on the 27th. Have Clatsop County on the 28th and Cannon Beach on March 6th. And then found out this morning we'll be doing Seaside on
26.
26th.
Great.
So he's got Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. Evenings.
City Council.
City council, okay, the 6th is Cannon Beach.
Yep.
It's at the city council.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I'm there.
Awesome.
Is that Clatsop County Commissioners? Okay.
All right, so yeah.
Just and what was the reaction of the council people, if you had any comments?
Yes, actually, very supportive of us as an organization, very welcoming of me into the community. Getting to know people in the community that are leaders in the community. So it's been a good process.
And was there anything that Sunset can do for Deerheart?
Possibly in the future. I'm not looking to, reform our transit at this time,
Okay,
but, I wanna establish relationships. That way going forward, if they have an issue they want to address, they know who to call, talk to. So this is more like an introduction.
okay.
If I may just add one more thing, that I think this is very powerful. I
Oh,
really
it
do, on
is.
a number
It
of ways, is that, they wanna meet the new guy and, kick the tires, and, find out who you are, and as our new representative, out in the community. And I know that Gerhard, I've spoken with, city councilors who have said they get bypassed a lot.
Mhm.
And, and all of these groups get bypassed for different, special districts, leadership. So, I think that I'm sure it went a long way to have you show up. I appreciate that.
And I think it's key to establish these relationships and get to know people before any issues come up. That way you have that working relationship before you have to deal with any issues. All right, quality of life. We had our all staff meeting yesterday on February 20th. We had pizza and salad, and all of us addressed everybody in the organization. It's somewhat informal, which is great. We get to sit down, break bread together, and talk about real issues. It was a great meeting. The employee of the quarter is going to be implemented for the first quarter of 2024. Each manager will nominate somebody and we'll have internal discussions, and we'll pick somebody. And unfortunately, they get to have lunch with me. All right, improving the organization. The biggest news, and I can't emphasize the importance of this news, is our 5310 and 5311 reimbursements are starting again. That is huge for this organization. Let's see what else. The SDAO conference we had in Seaside from February 8th to 10th. March 6th, we have SDAO coming to inspect our facilities. Another thing we need to start looking at internally is we have our RLS compliance review scheduled for August of 24. And that's going to be a little different than our last one. Our last one was mainly centered on finances. This is going to be looking at all of our programs internally. So we're going to start going through and looking at ADA, all these different programs to see what we can get into place before we go into this next RLS update or review. Also, something new I'd like to introduce for the organization is going to be a climate survey. I think we're far enough out of the hole from last year that we can start doing a yearly climate survey. It's just a survey with the employees. It's an anonymous survey. And I'll have that at the next board meeting for you guys to review before we go ahead with that. And it just gauges how people feel about working here. Lets us know areas that we can improve in as a management team to make it a more enjoyable place for them to work.
One thing I would suggest, I think sometimes it's one complaint, and you sort of blow it off as a complainer. But I think we need to look at that, if nothing else. It may be an unfounded complaint, but I think often it's easy to take that one person. What I've learned in my years in every politics, sales, and everything else, it's harder to complain than it is to compliment.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone goes to the effort of complaining, I don't think we change something just for someone complains, but I think we at least talk to that person and explain why. You don't know what it is, if it's not.
It's completely anonymous.
But I think you can address it. So it's that we got a complaint, we got someone who wasn't happy with this, and this is why we.
Right.
Explain why we do something that they think maybe we do it the wrong way.
Well, if somebody reports that they've been harassed or something like that, then, that's something we're gonna need to look at internally and say, hey, where can we make this better? Even though it's anonymous.
Because I think that one person can be speaking for others.
Correct, yeah. It's a good gauge. It really is.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Who formulates the questions for the survey?
all the managers are gonna get a copy of it. I have a tentative draft. And we're all gonna look at the questions, and if we wanna make any changes, we'll get together and we'll come up with a consensus.
And I asked that question because we do a lot of surveys and they're very essential.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes our members, when I say members, union members ask, well, why are we doing this again? To improve.
Well, you gotta do them every year once you start them, because it gives you a good gauge of how your organization's doing and how people feel about working there. And as you know, retention is very difficult.
Right, especially in today's working world, it's really essential.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So I would like to suggest that when all the employees are asked instead of a selected amount,
Everybody's gonna get.
and then there's been, in any organization, when you're asked to evaluate concerns of privacy, perhaps have a ballot box, so to speak, in a accessible area that you can just.
Yeah, like a
Drop it
Dropbox or
off.
something where they can anonymously.
And we've, I feel that we failed as a board to know what the employees really felt. I mean, some of the stuff we found out, we hadn't, well, I'll speak for myself, I didn't know. And so that when you have an outliner, it takes a lot, because you're kind of looking, did they see me writing? Do they know what I'm writing? Or whatever, so that perhaps, or to think of somebody to collect the ballots outside this organization. But obviously, we did not get the true insight view of what was happening here. And we have to make sure, and this is no reflection on you, make sure this never happens again.
Yeah, I agree. And you're gonna get a detailed results page with all the comments listed, exactly how employees respond to it. You'll get that also. So.
Well, I think the basic thing is that the employees have to feel they can tell the truth. And what Charles said, outliners, statistics, we're not in statistics, we're into employees. So if one person has a complaint outside 20 others, that still has to be addressed. Maybe they had the nerve to choose.
I agree.
Will this be separate from the survey we give them for the executive directors?
Yeah, this is.
It'll be separate than that,
Mhm.
okay. That's the only time they really get to say something. And I'm not sure we take the outlier out of those when we're grading the executive director.
So we do the executive director, this is more like overall,
But we get-
the whole.
We get sort of employee surveys from Sue, right?
It's different this year, it's gonna be different.
Let's go through that.
And it's a great idea.
I think it could go a long way to improving the organization.
And we want purple glasses, that's ridiculous. We at least know purple glasses. We at least know someone, just hear what they say.
Oh, definitely.
DOT says we can't run our buses purple, whatever. It's an explanation.
All right, let's look at, do you have another
Okay.
question, Pam?
I'm always worried about money, and including, so you've hired a driver and a cleaner.
A fill-in driver and a bus cleaner, yes.
So, to get an idea of where that's coming from in the budget, did we budget for it? And the other thing I wanted to, somewhere in all the reading we've done, they've suggested that we break down salaries, not to keep private. For example, bus drivers, 30,000, management, 50,000. So you see some of where your money's going, because labor is always your biggest expense. And the reason I'm asking about these is because, one, if you budget it, well, that's fine. But if you haven't, where's the money coming from?
We're under budget on personnel services right now. If you go back to the budget report, we are way under budget.
Okay, so and so that the board would know how much more this would be
Right.
for these two, because,
Well, I know internally, we have discussions specifically about my next point, which is restarting Route 15. And until we're sure that we're getting that we have the funding streams from ODOT back in place, we're getting, refunded or reimbursed on a regular basis. That's why we're holding off until like May at the earliest. It may go to July, but ideally, we would restart 15 in May.
I could ask about that one weekly.
Sure.
I could ask about Prop 15 weekly, so I mean,
Yeah.
that's.
Oh, yeah, it's the biggest gaping hole.
It's matter of, you finished your report, you still?
Not yet, still going.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Okay.
Discuss.
All right, let's go to paratransit. We're gonna evaluate our internal processes, and that rolls into the RLS. That's like the first thing. It's one of my pet projects. So we're gonna look at the ADA. You'll probably get some form of analysis on it next month in the board packet. And then going into ridership, Ridership Appreciation Day was January 30th, 2024. Ridership remains steady, but will increase when we get Route 15 removed. So let's go to the next slide. Take a look at ridership, and thank you, Paul. I broke down the ridership and fixed route and paratransit.
Thank you.
If you look, we had a slight increase in January from December. Go ahead, Jason, next slide. And paratransit, we also saw a slight increase.
Can you interpret a little bit about both of these? Are we on, a trajectory that seems, there's no surprises to it, it's just, because to me, this remained, it's low because of the lack of the, the loops and routes.
Right.
Is that where it's holding it back?
Right, the hours of
Because
fixed.
some of them kind of did jump a little bit.
Yeah, the hours of fixed route are compressed to what we used to run. Instead of having two drivers, you have one, doing 8 hours. So you're gonna have less opportunities for people to go out and ride the bus as often. That contributes to it a little bit. Not having Route 15 contributes to that. But it's encouraging. I think we're doing a really good job at reestablishing our paratransit ridership. Because if you look at previous numbers, back in February of last year, in January, we were 828 and 810. And for January this year, we're almost to 700. And that is a critical service we provide the community. So.
Now, is there any, as soon as the routes increase, we have more routes and, increase the ability, do you think that's gonna jump back, or is there anything that we need to do to, alert the public about that, or are they waiting in the wings and ready to
Oh, we're gonna let them
get on the
know.
bus?
We'll let them know.
Okay, all right.
We will definitely let them know. And yes, we should see an increase in fixed route ridership just for the fact that we're gonna have another route out there, so.
So it's not like we really have to do an awful lot of outreach other than, I think word of mouth and people that have used those routes are they'll learn that they've been enhanced.
Yes, we'll let them know.
Okay,
We'll
thanks.
definitely know.
Yes, that would be great to hear that from, all sources in the community.
All right, that's it for me. Jennifer, though.
Morning, board. Just wanted to add a couple of things to my report. There's a small team of us that are coming up with some positive service impact on our future. And we'll bring those to Craig when we come up with some things that we have in the works. And then, we met with, I was invited by the project managers of the CMH, construction project. It's a pretty large, project they have coming to our community, and, they asked us about our, what is it, westbound bus stop that is located right in front of the hospital. And so I had requested for better accessibility, because we know the downgrade from the shelter down into the hospital, access to get to the park building, the pavilion, the cancer building, Dr. Bowler's office, the medical supply building that used to be a pharmacy. So there's a lot of medical facilities in that area, and we want better access for older adults and our disabilities that ride either transit or even park. It's not easily accessible for parking alone. And so we came up with our request based off where they had proposed to replace the shelter or move it, and we asked for something different. And so they're gonna take it to the city manager and our planners, and hopefully we get our request granted, because I think it'll be a better placement for our community in general and transit, those that choose to ride the transit. So that's encouraging. It was exciting. A bunch of high fives in my office, and so that was good. But is there any questions from those two things or my report? Yes.
It is quite a steep walk down to get to the hospital from the street. So the bus will start going down in front of the hospital.
No, they're actually going to, and this was already in the plans, where the stairs are located. There's a set of cement stairs, I believe, from the ER up to the sidewalk. They're replacing that with a ramp.
Okay.
Yeah, so. Yes, Pamela?
There is a complaint, more or less, about that the transit shelter keeps moving. And so they go out one day and it's somewhere else. So perhaps maybe some notification in the lobby if anything
It's moving.
is moved.
They're moving it?
No, have moved, have changed. But that if a notification in the lobbies or in each building that the shelter's been moving anything.
Oh, that's a good idea, yeah.
Sure we will.
Sure you will.
Sure we will.
Okay, thank you,
Quit
Mary.
moving it in the province.
Question,
Yes,
you mentioned in improving the organization, the survey. Now, I can't remember where if that's going to run or it's already run, you've already conducted the survey?
It's
Were
in
you on that,
process.
Jason? Oh, it's in process.
It's
Okay.
currently live, yeah.
yeah, it's like this.
Okay, and when do you think that will, have the results on that?
Jason?
Yeah, I plan to run it through the end of March. So then I would imagine in the April board meeting, actually, that might work out really good. In that
Okay.
April board meeting,
Yeah,
we can
right.
talk about some of the
They
results.
run it, what, 90 days? So 90
We had
days.
89 from the Project Homeless Connect, and we're now at 120, so it's not bad. 30 additional.
Thank you.
We're gonna use that survey data to definitely impact our decisions on moving forward with future service. Because we wanna hear what the community has request that we use community request on where we put service rather than us just putting the service out there, because we're gonna miss riders. We want future riders, we want new riders, and we want growth in the organization, so.
Well, I would imagine that, pacing of surveys would be important too, because people kind of get numb to, survey, but is there some merit in having those at a particular, scheduled, or to conduct surveys on a regular schedule or not?
That's Jason's wheelhouse. What do you think, Jason?
Well, really, it's more of a discussion between me and Craig, but as a mobility manager, I mean, I want to get to where there is a regular, survey, in fact, just between myself and the people that I come in contact with. So that right now, that's really kind of compartmentalized, but this is really the first one that we've, in the last 5 years, have gotten out to the total population, so. And I would like to see it happen on a regular basis.
Do you have any idea of what a right amount of pacing for surveys would be that would be meaningful?
Well, and in the mobility world, it's often, it's often I get stuff out to the people that I meet with, travel training, travel engagements. I send out a survey for that. It's very internal. But I think the frequency for the one that we're doing right now, really, I would hope, it's just my personal opinion, that we see it once a year, to some extent.
Okay, thank you.
I think we gotta stay on top of that kind of stuff.
Tracy?
Go ahead, Tracy.
I just a comment that any improvements that can happen in the front of the park building would be much appreciated. That has a traffic pattern, it has a blind spot that when you come in and out, we have a lot of mobility devices that move and navigate, have to be loaded and unloaded in an area that just does not have that space. So anything that you can do to make that better as we improve would be very much appreciated.
So their project is just focused on CMH, the sidewalk in front of CMH and what is that?
Just the side,
South side,
just
but,
south side.
but it will, from the CAD program they showed us, it is a very involved, construction project they have. It's my understanding they're gonna be moving major services. We did express to them that we live here, how narrow Exchange Street is, the placement of the bus shelter, creating a cutout for us so that we can get out of traffic for safety reasons. We need crosswalks for the riders, people that park, trying to access. And so they took that all into account. They were very much appreciative of all the information. They're from Tigard, so they have Google. I know they've probably come down here and assessed the situation. They've been doing this for 3 years. I asked them, I already told them thank you for thinking of transit, because we're tending to be the afterthought when they put in Walmart and Freddy's. Those things came too late in the project to get better accessibility. And so I told them thank you. They did say that we're 3 years into this already, so it is a huge project, and I'm hoping that they can take our request serious, and the city can agree also on the fact that where the shelter would be best placed for those that are driving, and safety of the driver and the rider choosing to utilize transit. So Jason?
Just want to add a little bit. Jennifer's being a little modest here. Prior to her pulling that together and getting the people in that room together, if you would have just looked at the computer-aided drawing, it didn't take any consideration into transit. The spot where they were thinking where the stop would go would have been in direct conflict of entering into. It was just not really well thought of, completely not thought of transit at all. But after that meeting and understanding and getting a potential cutout and moving it into a particular location and so forth, the details I'm sure will come down a little further later. But the fact that they were very receptive to that and asked a ton of questions is the way it should be done. So that SETD plugged themselves into a major project. Granted, they've been going for 3 years, but they said that this was the critical time. That if this would have gone and they would not have had this meeting, well, then we wouldn't have had any thought put into future potential plans.
And we would have blocked the entrance to the hospital. And so there would have been a lot of upset drivers, and it's a major, well-traveled road and highly utilized for the bus stop and getting on and off the bus on both sides, east and west on Exchange, so.
And, parking is, I'm sure, a big component of this. A lot of times, it just seems like they weren't really thinking about siting and parking, maybe having to lose a couple of parking places, for some of all this stuff that we're asking for, so.
And our
Thank you.
request, I believe, gained them some parking space,
Yep.
so. So I'm hoping the city, the project manager was very optimistic and thinking that the city would probably go for our request and where to put the shelter.
Well, quickly, I, as someone used to do CAD drawings, and the thing with a CAD drawing, it takes just the linear dimensions, right? It's just a street that's this long and a cross street's this long. One of my previous lives, we started doing renderings, which are on-site photographs, and you see everything there. But the CAD drawing in itself doesn't take into consideration things like that. So if they're doing that, they're thinking outside the box, so to speak. And secondly, the Homeless Connect shuttle was quite successful. I was there, the times I go out there, man, they were waiting in line to get on the shuttle. And they knew about the shuttle. They were thanking us for doing the shuttle. So is that something we've done before, Jason, or is?
We have done it before. We skipped 1 year. I don't know how and why that happened, but we brought it back this time. But this time it wasn't just, I mean, we actually planned it and kind of customized it to the Project Homeless Connect. And it was really nice. It was really nice.
There was always someone waiting in line
Yeah.
to get on the shuttle. And it's easier. A lot of them leave their stuff somewhere and come over there because they don't want to bring their stuff over to the Civic Center. So apparently there was somewhere in the theater parking lot or nearby they could leave their stuff. And so they could take the bus over. And so it was always busy. So I was surprised, 350 riders, right? That's pretty good. But that was a great idea, by the way.
Thank you. Team effort.
Anything else for Jennifer? Okay, moving on to human resources.
Good morning. Well, glad to see you here. Any questions? This is kind of a 2-month report because I was out. I was ahead.
A gentleman call and say he was looking, are we hiring drivers right now, or do we have a list of if we were gonna replace drivers?
Right, we still have a list.
Okay,
We're getting pretty close to the end of that list. But with the 15 coming on, we'll see where we are with that one. I've got probably 4 or 5. I had one driver call just yesterday and say she was ready to come back and fill in and let her know when her number came up because she was ready to come back and drive.
Okay.
So.
I thought we were still doing that, so thanks.
So when we bring back the 15, you have to bring the drivers on obviously sooner than when we have the routes going to reopen, right?
Right, they have training, they have to be a new pre-employment drug test. I will do it, it's been almost a year. I'll do a background check on it.
You're gonna need a month.
No, a week.
To have it, so you'll know from Craig that this is the startup date, and then we'll start doing trying to find drivers. We hate to start the route up on our drivers, that would be terrible.
Well, one of the great things is all of us communicate very well. All the managers meet at least weekly, and we have separate meetings too, so the communication is there. Each department knows what the other one's doing, so it's not like coming out of left field and saying, surprise,
We'll start our 15 up next week. We already drivers.
Anything else?
No.
Yeah, like Craig talked about Penny coming back and Lauren. And yeah, we have the transportation support specialist position. It became available again and she's actually applied for it. And so anyway, but we're gonna do probably about 6 interviews just to make sure, see what's out there in case we are up to hiring another one down the road. So it's kind of a real tricky position. They have to be pretty computer literate. I mean, and they have to be, it's an 8-hour job and you're pretty much at your desk most of the day. Yeah. And filling it for Stephanie, which is really great. I enjoyed the SDAO conference and did a lot of different classes that are listed here. The paid leave Oregon was very interesting, and Lori Granger from HR Answers, she posted, statistics on how many had, used Paid Leave Oregon, so that's probably in the handouts. And the millions of dollars that have already been expended for that program. And I had to take the CJIS security awareness training, to look up, and get it recertified. It's a yearly thing, to be able to look up and get the results from the fingerprints. Anything else? Yes.
I just say, thank you for, emphasizing employee recognition.
Yeah. What we try to do is, we're always, communicating with our drivers as they come and go and just making sure they have a good day. And, we're pretty in tune with our employees, and so if something seems off, we definitely check that out.
There have been on television complaints about the Oregon paid leave, that they haven't received their money. Or any of the employees have that here?
I don't have any employees on Oregon paid leave at this time. But I've heard that they are a little slow, and now they're doing the Francis online update, and I think everything, like my work share that I do weekly for employees who are getting less than full-time hours, sometimes they're eligible for a little bit of unemployment money through work share. It's all going on to Francis online, and so, I'm sure they've got some bugs to work out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Executive assistant.
Well, been busy. Especially with the policies and things, but the greatest thing was that we had our Ridership Appreciation Day, our annual Ridership Appreciation Day. And we have it on the same day as Homeless Connect. Homeless Connect is actually put on by Clatsop Community Action. I don't know if you guys know that, but it's CCA. And they've been putting it on for years, and we've been partnering with them for years, since I've been here. Maybe not quite since I've been here, but at least 10 years. And I have to give credit to a lady that worked there, and it was her vision, from Clatsop Community Action, to put on Homeless Connect. And she did a lot of work to get it going and keep it going, but so it's dedicated to her because she was killed in a car accident after she got it started, like in the second year that it was started. So, and I knew her, and it's really neat that they dedicated to her. But anyway, so the same day we had a rider appreciation. So, and I think it went pretty well. We don't always get a huge crowd, but we have a lot of people come in, and we have breakfast and lunch and have all sorts of handouts as well, and hats, gloves, and be seen, all the right stuff. And then we have a drawing, and we had a drawing for 7 people, or 7 winners that had a backpack full of gifts in it, and a gift card and food and things like that. So it's not just geared for homeless, it's geared for our riders. And the backpack is not geared for homeless, it is geared for our riders. So kind of separate the two a little bit so that our riders feel like we really appreciate them. And so far, 4 of the people have come and picked up their backpacks, but sometimes it's really hard to connect with them because they are homeless and they don't have a phone. So that's a very sad part of this, is that. So we might have to do another drawing for the backpacks after 30 days that are left, so. And otherwise, it's been busy with the board stuff, and the board policy committee and doing that, and questions or anything?
This is very picayune, but of course I don't have to picayune, but it would be more personable if you put the names of the people, like Executive Assistant Mary Parker.
Oh, okay. the top then, on the top of our reports? Okay, I can do that. All right, I will do that.
Thank you, Mary, for all your hard work.
Yes.
Mobility manager, Jason.
Thank you all very much for being here. And I just want to state right off the bat, mobility management is awesome. It's a really, really cool program. Thankfully, we've got our funding a little more straightened out on that side of things. Encourages me, helps me when we go out there and talk to people. So I'll just highlight a couple things here. The Project Homeless Connect was really, really awesome. I think it's been talked about already a lot this morning, so I'll just say it was great. Incredible conversations with individuals. With the help that I have there, it gives me that opportunity to be able to do what a mobility manager does, which is to come alongside someone and figure out what they need and help them. So got a chance to do that, and it was cool. It was awesome. Pretty cool thing is we had a transit engagement with Astoria High School a while back, and it was the first one I've had this year, and several of them have connected with me after that and just asked for more high-vis stuff, a go bag. So like our go bag that I put together for individuals, and was able to hand out several of those, and that's cool to get it. It's actually quite confusing to get it from a call from a teenager to say, yeah, I need more bags. A teacher to say my teens need more bags, and I'm like, okay, as long as we're putting them out there and they're wearing them. So if anybody happens to see somebody out there wearing one of those little vests, okay, that looks kind of awkward and fresh, came from us, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, again, like I say, focusing on the individual, there have been a lot of opportunities out there for me to work with individuals directly and how to travel train them. But really during the winter, a lot of these travel trainings are about just really hammering the, be safe by being seen. So if you come across anybody at all and, you look at somebody and they're dressed all in black, maybe even what I'm wearing right now, just please, if you feel comfortable doing it, just remind them to come see me and I can help them out getting some high-vis stuff if they don't have some themselves, okay? Let's see here, our transit survey. I know we talked a little bit about that today. I'm gonna try to work with Mary here after the meeting and see if we won't be able to get all of you an email with the survey link. I'd love it if all of you could take the survey and share the survey. As you can't believe I waited till this long to ask Mary to do that. Just thought like, hey, we've got to get the board in on this. So it's a great survey. We've had some really good results. Shared it with the team a little bit. And I think we've got some pretty cool answers to some of our questions that we had there. So let's see here. I don't really have much of anything else unless you have any questions. Yes, sir.
I just want to thank you for calling that meeting with the vets.
Right.
That was a cool meeting.
Thank you for being
It was good to be.
Yeah. And you'll have an email coming out with the next one coming
Okay,
up. So
cool.
it's a lot of fun.
Really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I got the sense that it was all, there was mostly men there was a woman there, that everybody felt good about that.
Oh, I think they beyond felt good about it. I mean, it was what we needed to do. Even though we don't have a program right now, we still need to bring people together to talk. So that's what happened.
I agree. I'll just comment that I don't know that you added this to your compendium of what you did this month, but you provided the AV and the Zoom and the technical assistance that we needed for all of these meetings, and it's just so nice to not have any glitches, and you do such a good job with it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Lost a little bit of hair trying to get that figured out, but it's growing back now. So.
No, it's not.
Well, shiny is not going back.
You should be added to your job.
It's an illusion.
I used to think that too.
No.
Anything else for Jason? Okay, Nicole, Transit?
She could be at lunch potentially. Nicole, are you there?
I haven't seen her on today, so.
Oh.
Anything else from anybody? I think we should adjourn, unless anybody has any better reason.
I'll second that.
All right.